Vance-Walz debate tonight. It could be a messy event. We'll see. Both of them, this is amazing. The Pew Center, the Pew Research Center, polled Americans and found that a quarter of the American electorate, 1/4 of all American voters, have never heard, literally not heard, of Tim Walz or JD Vance. Now, you and I may say, how is that even possible, right? Because we kind of, we're political junkies and we pay attention to politics and all that sort of thing. But, the fact of the matter is that, obviously about a quarter of America, people are working, they're listening to music on the radio, they're not listening to the news, they're not watching the news on television, they're watching dramas. We used to have this, because of the fairness doctrine and the prime time rule. I think there was a different name for it, but there was this prime time block there where you had to have a news block in it. And we only had 3 networks. I mean, I'm talking about, back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s even, before the real growth of cable started in the mid-80s. That pretty much everybody watched the news because it was the only thing that was on TV. Whether you were watching ABC, CBS, or NBC, if you were watching a local affiliate, and that was pretty much it, you watched the news in the evening. No, not so much. We have a very uninformed electorate. 1/4 of Americans do not know who JD Vance is and do not know who Tim Walz is. That's mind-boggling. And it's a great opportunity, frankly, for both of them. And my guess is that while both of them really need to be telling America what they're all about tonight, that in all probability they're both going to be trying to tear the other down, which is, that's a vice president's job, I guess, is to be the attack dog. JD Vance, I'm not sure what he's going to talk about. He's a guy who owes his career basically to a couple of right-wing billionaires, one in particular, and Peter Thiel, who put what, $15 million, I guess, into his Senate campaign, basically bought him the seat in Ohio against Tim Ryan, and he did sponsor he co-sponsored one piece of legislation, child safety online legislation, but he didn't even show up for the vote. He famously, wrote a letter to Merrick Garland demanding that the Comstock Act be put into place and or be recognized and be enforced right now. We talked about that yesterday. So we'll see. I'm not sure how JD Vance is going to present himself positively. With Tim Walz, I mean, he's got a lot to brag about. Universal free meals in his state public schools, universal background checks for guns, enshrining abortion rights in his state constitution. He's 24 years in the Army National Guard. He's a good man, a family man. He did mandate in the state that all students have access to menstrual products in their school bathrooms, and the Republicans basically lied about it and said he was demanding that boys' bathrooms have tampons, and they call him Tampon Tim. It's not true, first of all, and but secondly, it's just another one of these pathetic examples of how Republicans try to take something that's true, and even a good thing, and try to twist it. It's incredible. After George Floyd's death, Tim Walz, kind of oversaw the response with the Minnesota National Guard to some of the violence in Minnesota. Vance will probably go after him for that. Vance, though, said, "I'm not just a flip-flopper. I'm a flip-flopper on Trump." Vance is probably going to be railing about wokeness. And Vance is going to be interesting to see if Vance uses the words weird or couch tonight. Those would be, that would be a heck of a drinking game. We'll see. We'll see.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
It'll be interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see if Walz says those words. Pardon me. Donald Trump is up to no good. I'll tell you about that after the break and pick up your calls.